one way you can use AI. I said create a plan around this idea. Do a research question, and it has to do with research on the question of the connection between the top 10 most technologically advanced countries and the math and science fluency. Notice this is a question somebody would do their PhD in, potentially, right? But notice I just asked it to AI, and look at what it's doing. It says, I'll research the connection between technological advancement and K-12 math and science education across leading nations. Look at the number of searches it is doing in real time. Now, some of these things do 60 searches simultaneously. I don't know if that, let me repeat. AI tools can do research on 60 websites in less than a minute. No human being can do that, no matter how fast our internet is, right? So the point is, with AI now, look at what's going to happen. It has searched a few databases. Notice the PISA is there. By God's grace, Nigeria will start beating those countries, starting with the teachers now that we're training, that your students will start being the best in the world. And there's a way to do that. The way we do that is by strengthening our tools and believing anybody can become very good. And then there's even the teams, which is another exam. So then it says, let me search for more information about the connection. Now I'll create a comprehensive plan based on all the research I've gathered. It says AI native education plan, research-driven analysis. By the way, it can make this into a 20-page research paper using all those. Look at the score results. Japan, US, the most advanced countries, right? South Korea, Germany, Singapore, China, Israel, Switzerland, United Kingdom, Sweden. We are going to work on that too. There's no African country here. So then, but look at the difference between Japan and some of the other countries. So Japan is serious. Now, the US is advanced, but part of why the US is advanced is because they have money, right? Money helps. But let's go to their K-12. Look at the K-12 ranking. Singapore, Macau, Chinese, Taipei, Hong Kong, Japan, Korea, Estonia, Switzerland. Notice that there is no Western country in this list in the PISA results for the top 8. That's very interesting. What is it about these countries? Well, actually, Switzerland is there, I guess. What is it about these countries, though? Mathematics doesn't care about your bank account. It cares about how willing you are to be disciplined. And discipline in terms of focus and rigor. Now, I'm not saying we should make children stay up till midnight every day, but look at something interesting. I have friends in Singapore. One of our instructors is from Singapore. We'll talk more about Singapore. Okay, let me tell you something interesting. The math curriculum in Nigeria is actually the same as that of Singapore. Let me repeat. The math curriculum in Nigeria is actually the same as that of Singapore. One of the challenges Nigeria has is that they add everybody, including the out-of-school children and including people that go to schools that don't have resources. So it will affect our score in any standard we try to go into. But if we find the best students at Westwood, let's put them and to compete with the best students in Singapore. That's actually a project. Let's start doing that. Look at where US is. US is below the average. US is in trouble. Okay. The team's results. Look at the top 5. This is another test, though. Look at the top 5 countries. Notice they are similar. Look at the US. We're also not doing too well. And then this is for 4th graders, primary 4. Look at the results for primary for GSS 2. Notice that the same countries here are the same countries here. Isn't that fascinating? That's because, of course, it's the same primary 4 students of that type that would end up going to GSS 2. Their foundation in elementary school is what is helping them. US is not doing well here at all. Notice that they went from 13th to 15th range to 22nd range. When your foundation is shaky, there's a problem. Okay, the US technology. Okay, now this part is a paradox. I'm going to have to come back to this part. We'll talk about this part in more detail in a second. Let's see. So the paradox, innovation ecosystem by educational outcomes. The US hosts tech giants, right? So they have Google, Apple, Facebook, and so on. US 8th graders, let me see. Okay, so we have to look at Singapore more closely. France is also a very good one. Okay, let me see if they have the correlation. So, does STEM education drive economic growth? South Korea, with one of the highest R&D expenditures globally at 4.8% of GDP, shows a direct correlation between innovation strategies and economic outcomes, with GDP growth above the global average. An historical survey of 220 famous 19th and 20th century entrepreneurs and inventors indicates that individuals with backgrounds in engineering, physics, and chemistry have been responsible for the majority of technological breakthroughs. By the way, notice they give you the source that is coming from. You can go back and look at the details. And you know what I do with AI sometimes? I'll take some things here. I'll now put it in Perplexity, which is known to be one of the best research tools. And I'll show you Perplexity after this. And notice that you can see. You have to double check the work, right? You can't just take everything AI says, but you can see that there's some data to back this up and there's common sense to back it up as well. Countries that invest in strong STEM education systems tend to have a higher innovation output, with nations like South Korea, Finland, and Singapore ranking consistently high on global innovation indices. See, we can learn from the best and see how we can overtake them. However, the lag time effect, critical insight for, this is tied to my strategy specifically. Countries invest heavily in education today. Innovation and economic benefits appear 10 to 20 years later. Is Nigeria ready for long-term sustainable growth? Is African countries ready for long-term? You see, we have to plan long-term, and the problem, unfortunately, is that some countries get destabilized regularly, and that makes it unfortunate. We need to find a way to address that issue. See, that's another research topic. Let our students do the research on that. What is what does destabilization do to a nation's innovation cycle? Current tech leaders are coasting on investments made decades ago. Future tech leaders are building foundation now. So Singapore and Estonia will see great rewards, right? But here's the other thing about America, though, that is interesting. Most of the tech leaders in America now, where are they from? Yeah, look them up. Look at their background. Look them up. Okay, and then also the children of these executives are also in the universities and in the schools or in the K-12 schools. And sometimes you can see that they are affecting. There's almost like an increase in how well America might show because of some of the connections to the children of immigrants as well, right? And here's why I say that, because like in the U.S. Math Olympic team or the Science Olympic teams, notice that a lot of them are immigrants. Again, nothing wrong against immigrants. I'm an immigrant myself. My point I'm making is this, though: money without a vision and a drive and a passion for educational excellence will not get you as far as you could go. You need parents who believe that you can do the work and support you. Just today, I was thinking to myself, I went to school with South Korean students that couldn't speak English fluently necessarily, right? But they came, and a lot of them, they will be translating from their English to Korean and so on. And some of them were the best in the classes. Here's the moral of the story of this video. If there's nothing else anybody gets from this video, we need to stop this idea of until all the conditions are met, my students will not do as well, blah, blah, blah. No. There needs to be that area of when you find yourself in a situation that quote unquote can put you at a disadvantage, do whatever you need to do to level up and get ahead. And the South Koreans are doing that well. When they come, I see them reading the textbook and then they have a translating device next to them. This was back about 15 years ago. Now I'm sure AI tools can help with translation. But imagine, they were doing well even in those situations. Adaptability, resilience, and grit are critical in the AI revolution. I look forward to sharing more on all of this. So where does the US stand? The US... there's weakness. There'll be a weakness in our 15, 20, 30 years from now if we don't change things now. So our fourth graders need to step up their game, and then of course it will affect everything. By the way, the screen time impact. By the way, interesting. When you have constant electricity and so on, you can have other issues. Let me end with this. One of the reasons why doing the teacher training or the things we do with teacher training is because I believe that a time will come where many parents in America will be looking for as much help as they can get. Because when they realize AI is heavily built on maths, they'll say, can I get anybody to help my child? And guess what? We would be able to say, we've trained 100,000 people in counting to calculus, God willing, or whatever the number is. We are ready to help. And let's think of it like getting ready for a big moment coming very soon. So thank you for watching. Claude is a great tool, and Perplexity is another one we'll talk about, and Manus AI. I want to encourage you to have those applications. They'll be very helpful. Have a blessed day.